acquired knowledge to the masses, especially to our youth, through services to the Anjuman-e-Mohammedan, the Fravahar organization, and other youth community organizations in Iran. And amazingly enough, that this selfless effort to benefit others has not ceased as a result of his migration to Canada. Rather, we consistently hear about his continued good work, such as organizing and chairing in the year 3750, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, an international conference of scholars on Zoroastrianism in Vancouver, Canada. Recently, reflecting on the desire of our youth to learn more about our prayers, Dr. Mobed Behi published a book, Zarathushti's Prayers. In this short book, there are some gems of religious knowledge that he has amassed while undertaking religious studies towards his initiation as a Mobed. Ardeshir Behi Sahib's knowledge is not merely limited to the ability of just reciting the prayers, although the Matravani itself, we appreciate, is very important. He has a strong desire to become a learned man of religion, and he firmly believes that his most important duty as a Zartushti is to pass on the powerful knowledge of our Zartushti faith to the next generation, in brief, concise, and simple words. He also believes that the world is transitioning into a new paradigm of living based on a new model of spiritual consciousness. And with that spirited sentiment, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming with a warm Zartushti welcome our very own scientist, educator, scholar, and Mobed of international repute, Mobed Ardeshir Behi, representing both Iran, our motherland, and Canada. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Karishma John. Thank you very much, Merjan, for your invitation. And I really want to thank everybody, audience. Thank you very much for your time and attending this webinar. I know how much time and effort you put towards this, which I really appreciate that. I was told that I have a very limited time, so I have to be precise on timing and speak. There is lots of things I need to cover. So I just touch the topics and then move on, and then we have some time to talk more in detail. Before I start, I just want to ask every one of you, have been in a situation that you call like fire worshiper or name on that? So if you share your experience with us, so in the chat box, I really appreciate that, so we can talk more on this. But I myself, grown up in Iran, as Karishma Jan mentioned, I spent most of my time in Iran, and it was always the case, I defending my religion, and I was thinking, like, I believe in this discrimination happens. Then I move out, and then I was in the contact with one of my friends from Far East, and suddenly we speak about the language and about the religion, and then she mentioned that oh yeah, she didn't know about the Zartushtis first of all, but then she recalled that by her textbook that these are fire worshippers, and I was thinking, like, something is wrong here. I know all the religions, the nations, Greeks, Romans, all the tribes, religions, Judaism, Islam, Christianity, all respect fire. But why Zoroastrianism or Zartushtis is called this fire worshippers? Or so people start saying and telling, oh, this is because of your obvious facing fire, which we know it's not. And then I talk more on this one, and then your text. And I was saying, really? So starting more, learn about our religion. So this first slide actually showing the principles or basics of our religion. And as you see, there is one item which I highlighted on the very last. It's all respect about 4 elements. So 4 archij. And you see fire is one of them. So that's the most important thing. But before I move on, I would like to move to the second slide. So a little bit of this archij. So you see all of you, I'm pretty sure all of you know that it's fire, water, soil, and air. But for my youth, my new generation, my friends coming, look at this more carefully. Water representing all liquids, soil representing all the solids, and air representing all the gases. So 3 different forms of matter or materials. And next to it, we have energy, fire. So this is the rule. The first, I mean, the Physics 101, and then first law of thermodynamics, the all is universe. So the amount of in the universe is equal, and then they're converting to each other. So that's the beauty of our religion. In a very simple word, that's the meaning that we have. So I'm going to touch more on this one, then go back to the text that people saying our text talking about this fires. So the main text we have to look into it. It's Yasna 17 from session 1 to 10. And in that one, you will see that talks about the fire, water, planet, and everything. It's not just the fire. But among those, you find about the 5 different fires. I'm going to touch more on this one. So what are these fires later on? But one thing I notice here, when you go through the text, one interesting thing is the text that we all familiar with, Nemasata Atrash, Putra Huramesta. And then look at the translation, some English translations. It says, we worship the fire, O Ahura Mazda's son. And I would say, worship, okay. But then, actually, if you look at the other texts, different translations. So for example, I look at the translation from Master Purdabut, and he used durud or salute or salutation in English translation when you look at it. And I say, so this is difference between worship and salute. Then it's interesting also which one is right or wrong. So sometimes you see like our friends, our Indian friends, when they want to greet each other, they say namaste or namasata. So you see this is a similarity. So that's hello or greetings or salutation is probably a very better word because selection. So you see some of the translators from the West purposely or unpurposely, maybe they don't know, I don't know, they use this word of worship, and that makes a big confusion. And then it comes the putra. So so that putra, which we translated to the son, is a figurative word. So most of the religion, Christianity, use putra means pesar, is a production, and so it's totally sense. Although there are some translators that think that putra comes from a Sanskrit word pu, means purity and redundant of purity. So you see, this translation is very important. So, and then we have to be very careful on this one and encourage our scholars to start look our texts more carefully and help us here. So let's go back again, this slide, which is going back to Yasna 17. So these are different, the next one. Yeah, you're right. So different five different kind of fires. So after, no, before that. Yes. So in this yes, no, actually it names 5 different fires. Actually, if you look, and these are fires, if you want to classify it as a physical or metaphysical fires, and the fires for physical one, which existed in plants, existed in all animals, this fire on earth, fire in skies, and fire in metaphysical things. So actually, you see all of this, my youth friends, these are just source of energies. So photochemical energy, uh, 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 electrochemical energy, electricity, heat. So as you see, this is different forms of energy, actually. So that's the most important thing I want to mention here for ourselves. And then it comes one of them, which is we call it Atash Bahram, and which is very important fire for us. And there is a reason behind it. This fire is not just any fire. Mubeds, around like 33 mubeds all around the year, get 16 different fires from every different occupations and peoples, groups of people, and then purify them, recite them Avesta, the whole Avesta, then they put them together. Actually, this is a representative of our community. It's a flag. It's a kind of representing us. So I also ask to talk a little bit about our fire, the fire in our motherland, Iran. So talking about this Atash Bahram, so let's go back to our motherland, Iran. So the next, yes, so this one shows where Iran located for those of our friends and youth, they don't know. So anywhere in the world where you are, that circle is Iran, and this is the motherland. But actually, this wasn't that small. So next slide shows how big Iran was in old Sasanian time. So you see in this image 3 circles, 3 big circles. So these are showing the 3 main Atash Bahram in Iran, and I'm going to talk about it. But before that, just before I forget this one, there are 2 small circles, one around Isfahan and the other one around Kerman. So please remember these 2 cities, and I get back to you on this one. But before that one, so these 3 main or big circles, these are representing the Atash Bahram. So in Sasanian time, so this big emperor or Shahanshahi, which is I prefer to use instead of emperor. So they have only 3 fire Atash Bahram. So you see how important it was. And then if you go by image, so you can see, so these are the ruins left. So from all these 3 left. So one of them is people, like as you see, like one important thing is these fires or Atash Bahrams representing different people, although there was different group of Aryans moving to Iran. So Parthians, Medicis, and Parsis. So as you see all these 3, and then the next one, which is the Atash Pars or Kavian. So next image, please. Yeah, so these are the 3 main ones. And actually, it was very interesting. So you see this representing somehow in the flag of Iran. So as you know, the Iranian is a agricultural community, those green representing that agricultural thing. And at the bottom, the blood of the soldiers who protecting the country, and then the white of those intellectual elite group of people to connecting all this and make this country a great country. So I can talk lots about this one. There are lots of facts and things, but let's go back to the Atash Bahrams in Iran nowadays. So you see this, I take this image from the Google. So you see that red bottom is Yazd, and then go back to the Isfahan. So again, back to those small circle, if you may recall from the previous slide, I show you the Isfahan and Kerman, and you see where the Yazd now located. So we go to the next one. And then this is a bigger picture of Yazd. As you see, nowadays, even when you Google our Atesh Bahram stands up as Zartushti temples next to the Islamic mosque. So you see how important is that. The next slide, please. So I just show you the image of that. Yes. So this is Atesh Bahram in Yazd. And actually, this one has a very interesting history on which I really want to point it out. So they believe the fire which is existed here goes back to King Pishdadi, Jamshid Pishdadi. So in a long time ago, he moved this one to the mountains of Farhmand. Then King Gushtas came in and moved it to Kabulistan in month of Nur or Roshan. Then Sasanian king moved that fire to Pars area, and that was that image. The third image I show you, the Karyan Pars, that big fires. Then what's happened? Then Arab attacks Iran, and what Zartushti did or priests did, the Mobeds, they took out these fires and they want to save it. This is so before this image. So then they take the part of these fire. The part of this went to Fasad, Neiris, and then it's moved to India to Sanjan. So that's sort of at one of the Atesh Barahram. The other one actually moved from to Agda in Yazd. They kept it for 700 years there. And then after that one, it moved to Ardakan. It's a very in a village called Turkabad in 1174. They kept it for 300 years over there, and they move it in Yazd in the Mahalla. It's called Ali Khanabad. That's that village on that part, and then they keep it. And then it comes to the time that I really want to acknowledge this. Our Parsi friends, Manukji, Limji, Hataria, which we all Iranians, we owe him and our Zartushti friends in India our life, actually. They came in, they support us, and they let us to survive in that situation. So they come and they put that like structure together, help us to rebuild the Atashkade. So that was the Atashegi Rahram Yazd. So if you please move back 2 slides, please. Yeah, so this is the image of that. And then after that time, we moved, like most of the Zartushti, with the encouragement of our Parsi friends, we start moving from Yazd to Tehran. So next image show our Atash Kadeh in Tehran, which this fire is all lighting up from the Yazd Atash Kadeh. So it's easily can say this fire existed for thousands and thousands of years. So that's the main holiness about this. This is a flag of our culture, which every single enemy try to put it off. And that's we keep it to this day. We sacrifice life to keep it and exist it. So I want to finish my talk with the very well-known poet. The next slide, Fardowsi, very nice said. He says, "Naguid ke آتش پرستان بودند، پرستنده پاک یزدان بودند." So if you just want to translate it, this means do not say they are fire worshippers. Actually, they are worshiping the pure divinity. Just look at how the word he uses, pure divinity. He got it right. And thank you very much for your time and listening to me. Hopefully I wouldn't exceed it too much of your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your explanation, Mobed Behi. There are many words of gratitude coming in. Thank you very much. Now we move to a Mobedyar who has dedicated many years of her work to the community around the world. And at this point, I would like to first thank Meher Amalsad for putting all the speakers together, writing the biographies, and also arranging for us to have a full translation by Dr. Manucher Hachmaneshini. So I'll give you the introductions to both Mobedyar Dr. Rashin Jahangiri and Dr. Manucher Hachmaneshini, and then we'll have the presentations. So it's my distinctive honor today to introduce this eminent speaker from Iran, with an amazing and absolutely prestigious credentials to serving our community as well as humanity. Mobedyar is a medical doctor who specializes in low-level laser therapy, Canadian maple instrument skincare, and platelet-rich plasma. Recently, she ranked first in Iran's national PhD admissions exam in the subject of ancient Iran's literature, for which she truly deserves a hearty communal round of applause. Mobedyar Dr. Rashin Jahangiri was certified as a Mobedyar by the Council of Iranian Mobeds in 2012, under the esteemed guidance of our respected and honorable head priest of Iran, Mobed Meherban Firuzgari. She has also been certified by the Council of Iranian Mobeds to serve as the official teacher for our Zoroastrian community in Iran, as well as to teach higher level refresher courses to expand the knowledge of the registered Zoroastrian religion teachers. She also serves as the qualified instructor in teaching several levels of Avasta and Dine Dabire at various teaching institutions for Zoroastrians in Iran. Mobedyar Dr. Rashin Jahangiri has served as a board member and as the chair of the Zoroastrian Youth and Career for the Tehran Council of Zoroastrians, and as a religion liaison in the board of directors of the Council of Zoroastrian College Students, which is involved in performing extensive social activities pertaining to religion, culture, sport, arts, education, and science, specifically for Zoroastrian teenagers and the youth in Iran.